Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Honeymoon. And I really did not like this episode. I was really kind of bored with it. Now granted, there were some good moments in this episode. But, again, we have gotten to the point where all these storylines have to converge. And this episode's editing was just odd. We just kept jumping around so much, and to be fair, the beginning parts of like Yo-Yo, Fitz, and Simmons' infiltration of the base for where the Hydra stuff was supposed to be was just really boring. It only got really interesting towards the end for the ramifications of what were going on. So the three storylines were Fitz, Yo-Yo, and them doing their thing. The whole Coulson, Daisy, May storyline getting all together. And then kind of Ruby and Strucker getting all their things lined up. Now granted, there were kind of even sub-tiers within that. And it was just, alright. Which one to go with first? Alright, let's go in a kind of chronological kind of thing. First, with the whole kind of escape with Coulson and Talbot, which was pretty good. Talbot's character was very well done in this episode. I really liked seeing him just kind of wondering where Coulson was, him explaining that they were in the future, and he's like, what the hell is going on with you people? And Coulson being like, I don't even know. So, they're pretty much getting through, but of course Ruby has been looking around the Hydra base, finds that the door's open miraculously, and strangely enough, figures out, turns it on, and whoops up to them in the snow mountains. That needed to be better executed. Sorry, it's just really too convenient to be honest with you, but as we go. She pretty much gets to them, pretty much goes down to them. This then intersects with Daisy and May, where, strangely enough, as well, they say, cloud cover's too thick, why don't we go down and canvass the area? And lo and behold, within those couple minutes, Daisy and them are able to catch up right as Ruby has gotten up to Talbot and Coulson. Of course, Quake tells them to get him out of there. She'll hold off Ruby and all that, and tells Deke to cover their back and all that. So May helps Talbot and everything, and Coulson, and they go off, and we see a kind of okay fight with Ruby and Daisy. Of course, Ruby's going, I've idolized you and everything, but I want to beat you. I'm like, I don't care. We have some character depth with Ruby, but I don't care about her character. And the thing is, with this fight, Ruby is not the better fighter. Out of all kind of hand-to-hand combat experts that we've got on this show, the two kind of top tier at this moment would be Daisy and May. Because May trained Daisy. Now, of course, Mac's also a competent fighter in his own right, but due to deadliness and kind of versatility, May and Daisy usually are the better ones. And Daisy's got her Quake powers, so of course she's a completely out-of-range threat for Ruby, to be honest. The only thing that they had to go to the future to get the Kree to even present an even better kind of challenge to May and Daisy. So this whole fight was just, it was okay, but in all honesty, Daisy should have had Ruby kind of down within about 2 minutes and pretty much hogtied on the Zephyr before Hale could have even gotten to the fight. So, of course, what happens is Daisy pretty much does kick her ass, but it's kind of drawn out more. She quakes her onto a pole, and Deke has come back to present help and all that, but of course, they're about to kind of capture Ruby, but we see gunfire. Deke gets hit, so Daisy has to get him out, and we see that it was Hale. I thought it would be a little bit of a interesting tactic if Hale was shooting someone to get a tracker to get back to their shield base, but I don't know, that would be kind of smart. Yeah. Of course, she expresses her disappointment in Ruby and all that, and pretty much forces her back into her little cage. That's kind of where it limbos for a little bit. We then see that Deke is bleeding out, and they pretty much just do emergency medical aid on him to make sure that he's stabilized before they get back to base. Of course, May's tried to contact them, but has gotten really nothing back from them. Deke, of course, is trying to express his frustrations over Daisy's changes since she's been in leadership, but she's like, listen, I cannot fight and protect your dumbass at the same time. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. And he brings up that he's trying to be a SHIELD agent, but she's like, you're not a SHIELD agent. Granted, Deke hasn't had the exact same training, but nobody has really trained him in their protocols or anything. Now, granted, they've had situations to deal with, but yeah. So they get back, and he's coughing up blood now. He's pretty much gone into shock, and we see that Piper has also found that Mac is locked up, figures out that's going on. They, of course, get back around the same time, and their whole idea is to get Mac and Piper together. Mac's usually a mechanic. He volunteers to do it. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense for him as a character. He usually likes to help people. He's a mechanic, so even though he has not been trained to be a surgeon, he understands the delicacies of working with delicate things in order to try and save him. And then putting together the combat medic experience of Piper, we get an interesting little scenario where they save Deke's life, where they have to go through all this and try and get the blood out, sew up the artery that's been nicked or hit, and make sure that he lives. And it's funny because they're going through, they don't give him anesthesia, at least at first, because he's essentially unconscious. Then he wakes up during it after they've pretty much made sure that the bleeding is under control, and they, of course, had to hit him with it again, and they're back. And, of course, one of the best parts was seeing Deke come back out of it and just be all loopy, kind of confessing his feelings and wanting to kiss Daisy and all that kind of stuff, and just going completely crazy and being like, "Hey, Mac!" Deke's great. He is an example of great character. And I love the characters on this show, but what they've been doing lately, I felt like I was going to fall asleep. I was kind of bored. And that's not for the lack of action. It's just, it was execution. I'm like, you need to pull me in better. And I really focused that on the editing and the shifting, the changes of what's going on. Of course, Daisy comes to check up and everything, and they decide not to talk about what's going on and just kind of give the lowdown. We'd also seen that Coulson had been pulled aside, and that May is berating him for being reckless and not even trying to fight to be alive. And she's really hammering him on some good stuff. And you're like, listen, these aren't your decisions to take. Those are the people that love you as well. I love you. Thought that shut you up. And I'm like, yes! Yes! I'm like, that's the character stuff that I want. And when I see those kind of things, I'm like, yes! Yes! That was cool, meaningful development. So then we also get Daisy talking to Talbot. And Talbot freaking out at first, getting ready to throw a tape dispenser at her. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, everything. And what he really wants is to talk with his wife and his son and make sure that they're okay and everything, and make sure that they know he's okay. Especially since he wants to make sure that his son doesn't think that he's a bad father, since he has been trying and everything, and explaining that he had broke and everything, and telling Daisy everything. I was like, okay, cool. Then, of course, we have a surprise at the end of the episode that I'll talk about later. So that's kind of where that all kind of rolls in. We then get a little bit of stuff with Hale, of course, locking Ruby in the room. Strucker gets in, has figured out the rest of it, and explaining, we need to do this now. Why haven't you, gotten rid of your mother at this point? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, because the writers have not thought to give you that idea. Because, let us face it, Ruby has really been chafing under her mother for a lot of episodes and a lot of years. The thought has at least crossed her mind, or it should have at this point. But we then get this whole scene where you know at this point that Ruby's just playing it on thick and explaining that her mother is her weakness and I'm your weakness. Flips her over and just locks her in the room. I'm like, and kill her. Interesting. So her instructor go off to do the gravitonium and all that. I like this show. I love the characters, and it's just irritating when you see bad decisions and how this is going. I don't want you to completely take my ideas. I don't think I know everything, but things can be done better. That's all I want. So they go off to go to the place that Fitz, Yo-Yo, and Simmons go. And they pretty much just dropped out. We got some interesting character interactions. It was in England. They're talking about their honeymoon and all that kind of stuff. And we see that Ivanov is here at the place. And they've got a kind of idea of where it is. They see the mechs. They kind of go off. And because they set off an explosion to check it out. They go in, they rip one of the doors, and they see all this stuff, and they just start breaking it, pretty much to stop what's going on. They then get to a point where the mechs are back and everything, and Yo-Yo's going to go through one door and pretty much try and take them all out. Well, she attempts to do that, but her arms go completely and utterly crazy. And the minute I saw this before it kind of cut, I'm like, oh, her arms are built to take the kind of speeds that she's able to do. Lo and behold, Fitz is going, they're not calibrated for that stuff, and I can't really do this right now, so Yo-Yo, you kind of hide while we kind of hold them off and you try and get out of here. Because they're still under the impression of them being invincible. So we get a pretty cool shootout as they're talking about all this kind of stuff. Simmons' gun jams at one point. There's because they've made the agreement that they're never leaving each other's sides again. And seeing that actually put into practice was pretty cool. So they're doing their thing. She tries to get Fitz to reassure her that, yeah, time can't be changed and all that kind of stuff. And he's going into his kind of spiel. She's like, no, that's not really working. And they're kind of in a bad spot, but then we see Yo-Yo pretty much fighting Ivanov. And that was a better fight scene. Getting into close quarters combat scene, Yo-Yo using her new skills with her new arms and everything, and getting Ivanov into a space where she's able to like open up his chest and push him out a window and pretty much take out this one, which incidentally controlled the other ones, which I'm going, that's a good thing to know. So that means if there's any mechs in an area, it has to be controlled by an LMD Ivanov. And I just hope somebody at some point in time goes, you know what? We need to take his friggin' head and just end this. You know? Hopefully. But before Yo-Yo can get back, we see that a helicopter comes in, and it is Strucker and Ruby, and they're pretty much forcing Fitz and Simmons to fix the machine. Like, okay. So we've just spent an episode of them breaking the things to have them fix the things. Now, to be honest with you, it could have been rejiggered in any way where, as they were in the process of fighting Ivanov, and then they take him out and they're about to break the things, that they had showed up, and they still have to coerce them to be of assistance, because I doubt two people could have been able to use the Hydra equipment that was there, so they would need two scientists. It's just like, I understand what they're trying to do with the whole time loop, but honestly, I'm getting very tired of it at this point. And I just kind of want this season to be over. I don't like when I say that about a show. Especially one that I like. I'm just like, can't this be resolved? But that's not the end. We get to the end. Daisy is able to get a line to Talbot's wife and just talking to her and all that. And we get the whole Hydra compliance thing. And we see that Hale sent one of her lackeys there, and that Talbot's wife is giving him information to turn him into a Hydra sleeper agent and activate him at the shield base. I've wondered where this has come in before. I don't mind it. It's cool for certain callbacks. It's just, I'm like, sometimes you need a little bit of space or whatnot. I'm thinking, God, this is just, okay. So we'll be seeing Talbot turncoat, and I'm going, okay, he'll be interesting to turncoat, but he really won't be in the most effective condition. So we'll have to see how that plays out and what's going to be happening. I just hope that there's better editing and better cohesion, because all these storylines going so concurrently makes it too messy. You really should have about like 1 to 2 main storylines that you're featuring, with maybe the dashing of the hints or leadings of other storylines sprinkled in. Some storylines just have to end or at least converge with other storylines to free up some room and space. Because this one was just like, I did a review of last week's Supernatural episode, and that had problems as well because there's too many storylines as well. I noticed this is a problem that's getting worse. We get shows that have decided that they are a certain length, and we get so much filler that certain episodes have to converge. Too many storylines in one space, and this needs to be stopped. This needs to be corrected. So hopefully we get a better, full, like, streamlined approach later down the line to have a better season finale. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.